going to go right to Faye, calling from Washington, D.C. She watches us on the New Life Live YouTube channel. Hello, Faye. How are you today?
Hey, Steve. I'm hanging in there. I'm doing all right.
Well, hang in there long enough to tell us what you're hanging in there over, and we'll give you some help with the hang, okay?
Okay. Well, I was married to a man addicted to porn, addicted to women, and on August 8th, he strangled me. I attended Emotional Freedom Workshop, and I met a lot of new friends there. And now I have a nice support system from the Emotional Freedom Workshop.
Good.
I moved out. I got my own place now. I'm starting my life over, wanting to live free from abuse. And my husband denies that he ever strangled me. He said it didn't happen. And I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with no closure. I'm dealing with how to get closure. I do have a legal team, a support team, a medical team. And I just wanted to know if you or the team had any advice for me starting my new life over.
I do, but I want to hear from Sherry and then Chris, and then I'm going to help you with the closure issue. Here you go, Sherry.
Well, hey, Faye, you know what? I am so stinking proud of you. Do you know that?
Thank you so much, Sherry.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. I don't know if anyone's told you that today, but I want you to know you're doing a great job. You're taking care of yourself. You've taken steps away from an abuser. And do you know, they did some research with 1,630 couples, and what they were looking at is the impact of pornography on male aggression. And what they showed is men who look at porn are more aggressive towards women. They're actually more aggressive towards men as well. And they don't attach to their spouse as well. Now, all of us might kind of say, well, yeah, that makes sense. But to actually have research with that many couples was telling. Now, this is the challenge. When somebody isn't taking ownership over what he did to you physically and relationally, it's weird because it can cause us to feel stuck, as if until they actually own the truth of what they did, we feel like we don't have that satisfaction, or we can't just land in our own truth camp. But when he's telling you, I didn't strangle you, when he's denying that, I don't know what you're talking about, what he's doing to you is more abuse. It's called gaslighting. It's psychological abuse because he doesn't want to take ownership. And so when somebody is psychologically abusing you, how much control do you have over that person? On a scale from 0 to 10%, or 0 to 10, how much control do you have over somebody who strangled you and is looking at porn and is abusive? How much control do you have?
0.
Uh-huh. See what I'm so proud. You're so proud of you. You're so smart. But you know how beautiful that is? Because when we have 0% control over what somebody else is going to do you know who takes 100% control of us? Ourselves. You can walk away with 100% guarantee that he strangled you. I believe you. Chris believes you. Steve, do you believe her?
Absolutely.
Okay. You just have 3 of us that are on your team, and we've said we believe you. You can walk away and not wait another second for him.
Absolutely. And so, Faye, in that walking away, you're going to enter into this thing that we like to call complicated grief. And it's a living grief. It's a living loss. And it's complicated because he has meant something to you, even though it has been painful and destructive and necessary to leave. So part of moving on is entering into that loss process, allowing your heart to feel the sadness, the confusion, and even the fear of uncertainty of what the future may be. And I want you to be able to hold a paradox, meaning 2 things that seem opposed to each other that are happening at the same time that are true. One, you have this hope for the future. You have this maybe it's a subtle excitement to go and rebuild a new life. And on the other
Yes.
hand, you have this lingering sadness and hurt. And that needs cared for. And so this development process requires that we have the resiliency and the wisdom to hold both of these truths together as we move forward, and a place to put them. So like a group of women in your life where you can talk about, yes, I have this hope, and yes, I'm excited about this, and I still have this heartbreak and this hurt and this confusion.
Yes.
And I love that you have a team. Use your team to be able to
Thank
help you
you.
do that.
Okay,
Thank you.
so closure starts with the same letter as choices. And you will not have closure if you make too few choices. For instance, physically, you need to have closure. That means he should not ever be around you again, because he might kill you
Amen.
this time. You don't
Amen. Yes.
you don't know what a man who has been rejected might do. So that might involve a restraining order. That might
I have
involve literally you deciding, you know what, life's too short. I'm going to move and get away from this guy. Whatever it takes, cameras, alarms around wherever you're living, you need to feel physically safe and have no interaction with him. Legally, you have some choices to make there, what you're going to do about all of this. And in everything you do, you would always be open to the fact that in 2 or 3 years, if he was a different person because he humbled himself and got help, it might be different. But there's not much evidence that that's going to happen. But you need to do what you need to do legally to be totally closed in this relationship the best that you can legally. Spiritually, you need to be in a women's Bible study. You need to be praying for wisdom. How to close this up? How do I accept your forgiveness, God? How do I accept the fact that you want the best for us, but you still give us freedom of choice? And you need to be reading that Bible, studying the Bible. And I would say a great Christian female therapist is going to help you, not just spiritually, but emotionally.
Yes.
And you want to do whatever it takes to have emotional closure. For some people, that means I've got to go to a counselor who specializes in trauma, because you have been traumatized, not just the strangling, but the fear and just the regret, all that stuff. You've got trauma upon trauma. So if you want closure, you have to make enough choices to bring that about. Here's what some people do for closure. They pray they'll have closure. Well, praying and not doing anything is a mistake. Nehemiah asked God to protect the city. And then he said, and I put watchmen on the wall to be sure we were protected. So he asked God to do something, and then he did what he could do. Versus, dear Lord, I am into magical thinking, and I think that I'm going to ask you to do a miracle here, and you're absolutely going to respond. That isn't what happened. So you have to do what you can do, and one day you wake up and go, wow, I don't have a bunch of residual guilt or shame, residual fear, emotion. I feel safe in every way.
You know, it's so
Yes.
it's so interesting, Steve, as I hear you. I'd love to send her a copy of my book, Intimate Deception,
Well,
Healing
we're gonna
the
give her
Wounds
that,
of
no
Sexual
question.
Betrayal. But opening the show, Faye, today with my kinsman redeemer, who today is actually our wedding anniversary. We've been married 9 years, but to be together on scaffolding working on a project together where I feel so safe and loved and seen. Girl, I just want to speak hope into your heart and your future, because God does restore what the locusts have eaten, and it's right there in front of you, girl.
So good.
All right.
Thank you.
And I hope that this is helpful to you. I'm going to send you Sherry's book. I think it's going to be really, really good for you. I think it's good for anybody who's ever been betrayed, deceived. It's a great book for healing. So that is coming your way. I will also send you a restoration Bible. I'm going to send that to you. Hope that that'll be a blessing also. And I'm so grateful that you let us share this and to try to help you achieve and experience what you deserve. And that really is to be free and closed.